Hello, and welcome to the first ever episode of Brewhammer 40k. If you don't know, Brewhammer is the home to all homebrew Warhammer 40k rules, be it detachments, or characters, or custom units. Today we're going to be covering a detachment, the Abhuman Auxilia for the Astra Militarum. This is actually made by me, yours truly. And if you have anything you'd like me to review, or any characters, or detachments, or anything you'd like me to design, feel free to drop those in the comments, and I'll see what I can do. Before we start, we should go over the ranking system. We rank here with the 3 Fs. How fun it is, how fair it is, and how flavorful it is. We're going to be ranking these out of 5 at the end of the video. So let's get straight into the detachment. Our detachment rule for Abhuman Auxilia is integrated training. Some planets are the homeworlds of Abhumans Auxilia, such as Ogrins or Ratlings. On such worlds, the Abhumans garner a shred more respect and are given proper training and integrated into the chain of command. Our first rule here is either Ratlings or Ogryn gain the battle line keyword. This is great for making a flavorful army, as you can change it depending on whether or not you run primarily Ogryn or primarily Ratlings, depending on your lore that you have for your custom army. Then, we get into the second part of the rule. All officer models can issue orders to Ogryn and Ratling units in your army as though they had the regiment keyword. In addition, while an Ogryn or Ratling unit, excluding Loyal Protector units, this is just a clause to make sure you can't pass the buffs on to any battle line infantry, is under the effects of an order, add 1 to the strength characteristic of each attack made by models in that unit. This army rule doesn't seem very impactful, but if we take a look at the data sheets, we might see a few breakpoints that 1's strength can really increase. Don't forget, adding Ogryn and Ratlings into the army rule will also give them the ability to move for an extra 3 inches of movement, or the ability to take aim, or fix bayonets, for an extra +1 to hit in melee or shooting, respectively. We'll take a look at our first data sheet here, so that we know what we're getting into. The Ogryn squad. They have a movement of 6 inches, toughness of 6, which is pretty hefty when it comes to infantry in the guard. This is as tough as a Terminator. A 5-up save, well, 3 wounds, 7-up leadership, and 1 OC. Now, about this defensive stat line, we do have a 6-up feel no pain, but when it comes to proper firepower, they die. They die and they splat like flies. The thing is, against las guns and bolters and the like, they can really weather quite a heavy storm. Let's go into the ranged weapons. Ripper guns are 18-inch range, 3 attacks at 4 up, with strength 5, 1 AP, and 2 damage. However, we do have the very important rapid fire 3. So within 9 inches, you're getting 6 shots per Ogryn. 6 times 6, with some quick math, we can determine that this is 36 shots for a full squad. Now, with strength 6, we're punching into Terminator territory, and we're wounding guardsmen on 2s. With point-blank barrage, skipping ahead a little, we get to increase the armor penetration characteristic of our ranged attacks, provided that they're the closest eligible target by 1. So, 36 attacks at hitting on 3s with take aim, strength 6, AP 2, damage 2, you're melting marine bodies. Not to mention, they're no slouch in melee either, with 4 attacks apiece, 3-up weapon skill innate, 6 strength, 1 AP, and 1 damage. Pushing up to 7 strength, not necessarily a huge breakpoint, but always nice to have, and you've got yourself a serious damage dealer. Then we come into the Bulgrin squad. Same stat line up here, with just 1 better save, but you probably won't be using this save very often. We'll skip ahead to the War Gear abilities, and we'll see that they have a 4-up invuln at their disposal. This already makes them far tankier than the Ogryn. But with their ability, Wall of Muscle, you're subtracting 1 from all incoming damage. This is already one of the tankiest units in the game, and with some ways to increase their tankiness later on, you can really have something that's hard to move. We're going to ignore the Grenadier Gauntlet, as most people will never take this option, and you're going to be going with the Bulgrin Maul for the most part. This is a melee weapon with 4 attacks, 3 up weapon skill, 7 strength, 1 AP, and 2 damage. Now, 7 to 8 strength isn't that huge, but hitting on 2s is a pretty big deal. And as we'll see later, we can increase this damage with one of our enhancements. So, keep this stat line in mind. Lastly, we have Ratlings. 6-inch move with 2 toughness. This is quite a dip from the Ogryn. 6 up save, so you're not saving anything, and 1 wound apiece. Now they come in 5 and 10s, and with 10s you get access to their special weapons. With a 5-man squad you get 5 guys with little tiny rifles. These are 4.22, but putting them up to 5 is actually a pretty big deal, as with precision, this finally makes them able to kill Space Marine characters rather consistently, as before they kind of did nothing at all. They also have 2 amazing abilities, Infiltrator and Shoot Sharp and Scarper. In your shooting phase, after this unit has shot, if it is not within engagement range of any enemy units, it can make a normal move as if it were your movement phase. If it does, it can't declare a charge. You're not charging with these guys anyway, they barely have melee. This rule, it makes the data sheet. And Infiltrate so helps. There's a reason to run 5. But if you run 10, and this is out of date, it's only 100 points, you get access to this Tank Stopper Rifle, 1 per squad, which, going up to 10 strength, is a huge breakpoint. That means you're wounding stuff like Chimeras and Rhinos on 3s. 3 AP, D6 damage? This does some proper damage once you get up there. Our War Gear abilities, you also get a Rattling Battle Mutt if you run them in 10s, so this is once per battle lethal hits, and they get the Grenades keyword if you run them in 10s. Not saying you always want to run them in 10s, a lot of the time actually, it's best to just run 5-man squads for 60 points with Infiltrators and Move Shoot Move. But this detachment does do a lot in the way of making these into a unit you could actually feasibly run in 10s. Let's get into the detachment proper. We're going to start off with some enhancements. Our first enhancement is Ogryn Commander. Some Ogryn who prove their worth on the battlefield can be promoted to a commanding position. However, they don't give so much tactical leadership as much as simply whipping up their fellow Ogryn. This is an enhancement for an Ogryn bodyguard model only. It can be given this enhancement despite its Loyal Protector ability. Now, the Loyal Protector ability says it can't be given enhancements. We're just circumventing that. This unit loses the Loyal Protector ability and keyword, and instead gains the following abilities. While this model is leading a unit, weapons equipped by models in that unit gain lethal hits. This model can lead the following units, Ogryn and Bulgrin. So, you get 1 extra Ogryn, and we didn't look at this data sheet, but he can have a 4-up invuln and a Ripper gun. And you get lethal hits on an entire squad of Ogryn. Now, 36 shots at lethal hits, you're going to hit 6 lethal hits already. So before you even go to the wound roll, you've already got 6 shots with AP2 damage 2. That's enough to threaten even tanks. And with strength 6 as opposed to 5, you're going to be wounding on 5, so that's a few more going through, and this turns them into a potential threat against armor, which is crazy to say about Ogryn, and is one of the things that they struggle with the most. Is it always going to be worth it? No, not always. 25 points on an enhancement on an already overcosted character is not something you always want, but this is definitely a very flavorful and very powerful enhancement. Our next enhancement is Sneaky Rascal for 15 points. While most officers of the Astra Militarum stand valiant in the face of danger, some have more in common with Ratlings and will make a strategic retreat. This is an enhancement for an infantry officer model only. This model can lead Ratling units and gains the Infiltrator's ability, along with the following ability. Whenever an enemy unit ends a normal move, advance, or fall back within 9 inches of this unit, models in this unit may make a move of up to 6 inches. Now, this is a very powerful ability, though you won't usually want to be using it on Ratlings. You're probably going to want to put it on a Castellan or a Command Squad, and have the Castellan lead Kazarkin, or a Command Squad leading a 20 blob. Being able to protect your high-value targets, such as Kazarkin, is insanely powerful, and shows that maybe Ratlings don't always have the worst frame of mind. Enhancement. Beloved Commander. 30 points. As opposed to the treatment regular humans get from them, attached commissars are always exceptionally kind to their Ogryn Auxilia. This is for a commissar model only. This model can lead Ogryn units. In addition, each time a model in this unit makes a melee attack, add 1 to the damage characteristic of that attack. So, this goes without saying. +1 damage in melee is incredibly powerful. Putting this on Bulgrin, which is what you'll normally want to be putting it on, will make them into proper damage dealers, because even though they're only AP 1, you're going to be hitting on 2s with the Commissar's Order, and you're going to be doing damage 3 each time. In melee, there's no cover. You can run those guys into Terminators, and they'll actually have a pretty solid chance of taking out a few of them. And the great thing about Bulgrin, they'll survive the clapback. This is an insanely powerful enhancement, and is costed as such at 30 points. But 60 points for a unit that can do that? I think most people would say it's worth it. Flavorful? It's also very flavorful as well. And I think it's also very fun to see a bunch of Bulgrins splatting a bunch of Space Marines. Integrated Command for 10 points. This is our last enhancement. Having trained alongside them their whole lives, the soldiers in an Abhuman regiment know how to use their Auxilia to the fullest. This is an infantry officer model only. While a model in the bearer's unit is the target of a ranged attack and is partially obscured by an Ogryn unit, that model gains the benefit of cover. As far as point fillers go, this is not the worst, but in most scenarios, you're going to have cover anyway, and this is just going to be a redundant enhancement. However, it is very flavorful, and is almost ripped exactly out of the 9th edition Codex, where there was a stratagem with the exact same effect. Speaking of stratagems, we're going to get into the stratagems now. For our first stratagem, we have Tougher Than a Grok's Hide for 1 CP. Living on high-gravity worlds, Ogryns have developed a hide so strong that they can take cannonballs to the chest and walk out alive. Target, 1 Ogryn unit, excluding Loyal Protector units, that has been selected as the target of 1 or more attack. When? Your opponent's fight phase. Effect, until the end of the phase, whenever an attack is allocated to models in this unit, if the strength characteristic of that attack is higher than the toughness unit of that attack, subtract 1 from the wound roll. This is incredibly powerful. Having a -1 to wound on one of the most tanky units in the game is amazingly powerful. I'd say it might even be too powerful into the right army. Against something like World Eaters, this turns your Bulgrin into unkillable walls. Whereas, into something like Tau, this never comes up. It really is a very matchup-dependent stratagem, but it will win you many games if you use it right, into the right armies. Now this is a fun one. Personal modifications for 2 CP. Ratlings are some of the only people in the Imperium who get to make modifications to their weapons. Well, get is a strong word. Target, 1 Ratling unit that has not been selected to shoot this phase. When? Your shooting phase. Effect, until the end of the phase, ranged weapons equipped by models in that unit get the Rapid Fire 1 and Hazardous abilities. And until the end of the phase, add 2 to the strength characteristic of attacks made by models in that unit. This unit cannot move this phase. So, I know a lot of people will see 2 CP and say, this is never worth using. And you know what? You're probably right. For being honest, this is definitely not worth using most of the time. However, there is something to be said for a squad of Ratlings with heavy on their sniper rifles. Sitting still already hits on 2s. if you give them first rank fire, second rank fire, and you put this stratagem on, in half range, they're getting 3 shots apiece. And plus 2 strength. That puts your sniper rifles up to strength 7. That's insanity! And it puts the tank stopper rifle up as the same strength as a las cannon proper. This turns these into supplemental anti-tank and very good anti-elite character. But in most games, it's not worth sacrificing your unit of Ratlings for 2 CP and a character. Our next stratagem, a True Protector for 1 CP. An Ogryn bodyguard will go through hell just so that his designated officer remains safe. Target, 1 Loyal Protector unit. When? The opponent's shooting phase or the fight phase, when this model's unit is selected as the target of an attack. Effect. Until the end of the phase, models in this unit are considered to have a toughness characteristic of 6, and this unit's Loyal Protector model gains the Feel No Pain 4-up ability. Restrictions: you must allocate all wounds to this unit's Loyal Protector model until the end of the phase. Not only is this a very good stratagem if used at the right time, this is also what Ogryn bodyguards should have been from the start. The fact that they don't work this way innately is almost annoying. This basically makes it so that a Ogryn bodyguard does the job it's supposed to, which is taking hits for the little guys before he goes down. Will you always want to use this? Probably not, because you're probably not wanting to run this in the first place because it requires you to run an Ogryn bodyguard. But, if you do, this is a great use of it, as a 4-up Feel No Pain and Toughness 6 on a squad of infantry is amazing, especially with the Ogryn bodyguard's 4-up invuln. Our next stratagem, a Notion of Safety for 1 command point. And I would just like to point out, the models in the corner here are painted by yours truly. We have a Bulgrin here with a little Ratling on his back. Isn't that just the most darling thing you've ever seen? In a war-torn battlefield, few things steady the aim as much as knowing an Ogryn is taking shots for you or a Ratling sniper is watching your back. Target, 1 Ogryn or Ratling unit. When? Your shooting phase. Effect. This unit gains the following ability until the end of the phase. Feeling of Safety, Aura. Whenever a regiment infantry unit within 6 inches of this unit makes a ranged attack, reroll a hit roll of 1. This is a powerful ability, don't get me wrong. Of course, using this on a siege cannon or on heavy weapons teams or a field ordnance battery can be very powerful, but it's not the best source of rerolls in the Guard. If you really want rerolls on your infantry, you can always just go with the Scions detachment that has those built in. And you can also put a Scout Sentinel, which grants rerolls to anything, not just regiment infantry. It's not always the best choice. But it's fun enough, and if you are building your list right, it can definitely be helpful. And another flavorful one, Stolen Goods for 1 CP. Target, 1 Ratling unit. When? Your command phase. Effect, roll a d6 and apply the following effect based on the result until the end of your next command phase. Number 1, Stolen Food. Improve the objective control and leadership characteristics of models in this unit by 1. 2, Stolen Supplies. Return D3 destroyed models back to this unit. 3, Stolen Intel Devices. Weapons equipped by models in this unit gain Ignores Cover. 4, Stolen Gun Parts. Weapons equipped by models in this unit gain Sustained Hits 1. 5, Stolen Rounds. Weapons equipped by models in this unit gain Lethal Hits. And 6, Officer's Stash. Reroll on this table 2 more times, ignoring subsequent 6s. Of course there's a lot of good effects on here, but power-wise, it's not the best. The risk of getting +1 OC and leadership is too great, and if you have a full squad, which you'd want to use this on in case you get a good one, like Sustained Hits or Lethal Hits, then 2 literally does nothing. Once you get to 3 and upwards, then things get good, but, I mean, if you guys roll anything like me, you're never going to roll higher than a 2. Although, flavor-wise, this is an amazing win. I mean, Ratlings are known for stealing things all the time, and this, I feel, portrays that perfectly. It's random, it's fun, and it's not always the best. But that's okay. Every detachment has bad stratagems that they have in there for no reason. Next stratagem, we have Thunderous Charge for 1 CP. This is our final stratagem of the detachment. Ogryn are so massive they daunt even the Adeptus Astartes. Sometimes just running at you is enough to do damage. Target, one Ogryn unit that just finished a charge move. When? Your charge phase. Effect, choose one enemy unit this unit is in engagement range with. Then, roll 1d6 for each Ogryn model in this unit. For each 4-up, deal 1 mortal wound. This is just another grenades, and considering Ogryns have grenades, you can do quite a lot of mortals in one turn. That being said, it's not always going to be worth it, but this is a good flavor win and is very powerful on the tabletop. Let's go into my final thoughts. So, this detachment is great. It's a great detachment if you're running a flavorful list. It has a lot of flavor. The stratagems are oozing with it. The stolen goods, even the more powerful ones like Thunderous Charge and Tougher Than a Grok's Hide, those are still incredibly flavorful and really sell the fantasy of fielding a whole field of Ogryns or Ratlings. So I think flavor-wise, this is a 5 out of 5. Especially considering the rules like the making one of them battle lines so you can customize your force to be more geared towards Ogryns or Ratlings. It's incredibly flavorful. Power-wise, if your opponent can kill Ogryn bodies, you're going to lose. And most of the time, at least for normal Ogryn, they can kill them. Now, if you field a bunch of Bolgryn, you might have a chance at actually playing the game. Some of these feel unfair for the opponent. Some of these feel unfair for you because you can just whiff and do nothing. But overall, it's fine enough for casual games. So long as you're not trying to game the system, this should be a fairly balanced detachment. So I'm giving it a 3 out of 5. Fun-wise, there's a lot to do. Obviously, rolling dice is fun, so the stolen goods is always going to be a fun stratagem to use, and getting to play a bunch of Ogryn, in my opinion, is fun, because you get to roll a bunch of dice, and now those dice do damage more, which is also great fun. I feel as though this might be eking off the fact that all of the units that it buffs are already fun units to play, but I feel that this detachment is very fun. So we're going to give it a 4 out of 5 on the fun meter. Anyway, guys, maybe you disagree with me. Maybe this detachment sucks and isn't fun at all. Maybe the flavor's all over the place, and you may as well have called it a Space Marine detachment. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. And if you have any requests for homebrew, or any homebrew you'd like me to review, please send them my way, or leave them in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.